Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 17 and compare it against the iPhone 13 Pro Max and see which particular iPhone is a better one for you. Now, the thing with these particular, iPhones is that they're both very good types of iPhones. I like them a lot, and if you're going to go through and pick up a device, I think these are very solid options. Now, I will say for the most part, if you are about to go through and pick up an iPhone, it might make more sense to go buy a newer one than an older one, if I'm being honest with you. But I will say with something like an iPhone 13 Pro Max, this is still a very good phone for the most part. And I do think for a lot of people, it could still make a lot of sense to go and pick it up for sure. So let's go and see how they both compare. If you want to pick up either one of these particular iPhones though, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these phones. The iPhone 13 Pro Max, actually, let's start with that one. That one originally came out back in 2021. So this particular device is getting a little bit older now, right? So that's kind of the one thing to keep in mind here. It is going to be a little bit of an older type of phone. It's still giving you a pretty good type of layout for the most part. So with a phone like this one is still giving you a large 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. So that is still a really nice type of layout here going on for this type of phone. So that is something that I still like about these types of devices because you're still able to go through and basically grab a phone that still looks very good. It gets fairly bright for the most part, but keep in mind it's not really like the brightest panel. It's not supposed to be. It's also basically still giving you, a notch and stuff like that, but it is giving you a ProMotion display. And that ProMotion display is very nice. I love having a ProMotion display, and you are basically going to be getting that type of capability right inside of that type of device, which is actually incredible. So I love having it there. You're going to be able to still have it and maintain a high refresh rate, and it's going to be an older phone, so you're definitely going to be able to save some money when it comes down to that side as well. So from that particular side, that kind of covers it up there. Now with something like an iPhone, 17, this one is going to be giving you a slightly smaller type of display. So this one is going to be ever so slightly smaller, but it's not going to be like the biggest deal in the world either. This type of phone is going to be giving you a 6.3-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. So this one is going to be slightly better in some ways, so that is always a nice thing to have, and I like being able to go through and buy a phone that's going to be giving us a better type of capability. It's giving us ProMotion as well. It is giving us an always-on display, and it is also giving us a dynamic island. So those things are always like super nice things to have there from that side too, because they are possibly going to be giving us a better type of display with higher brightness, 3000 nits of peak brightness on the iPhone 17. So that is going to be another nice thing there too. So like I said, I like being able to go through and pick up a phone that is going to be giving us better type of capability from that side. And there is a pretty high likelihood that an iPhone 17 is going to be giving us a slightly better type of experience from that side as well. So keep that in mind. Now, the iPhone 17 is also going to be giving us a USB Type-C port on the bottom, where the iPhone 13 Pro Max is only going to be giving us Lightning. That is a little bit of a downside. I personally prefer, USB Type-C as much as everybody else, but still Lightning I think is okay for the most part, but it would be nice had this device given us a little bit of better capability in some other ways, but what are you going to do? Now, the iPhone 17 is also giving you the action button and camera button. The 13 Pro Max doesn't give us that. You are getting a triple camera setup on the back of the iPhone on the back of the iPhone 13 Pro Max, where the iPhone 17 is giving you a dual camera setup, MagSafe on both. You do get reverse wired charging on the iPhone 17, which is really nice. So there are some advantages between both for sure. If I'm going to look at both though, there could be some capability where something like an iPhone 17, that one might be the better one in some ways. You could make the argument that the 13 Pro Max with its bigger size display and capability like that might be better as well. But it really is just kind of dependent on how you kind of take a look at it. But I personally like all these types of phones. They both hold up very well, but the 17 clearly is the better one here. When it comes down to price tag, the 17 Pro Max is, or the 17 is about $800. The 13 Pro Max is significantly cheaper. So if you are trying to get the phone that is going to be slightly cheaper in most ways, the 17 is going to be more expensive, so kind of keep that in mind. When it comes down to the cameras, the iPhone 13 Pro Max is giving you that triple camera setup on the backside. So that type of device is giving you still like a pretty good type of experience, right? It's going to be giving you 12 megapixel cameras all throughout. You are still maintaining and getting a really good solid type of experience for the most part, because it's not even really like that bad of a phone. Like that phone still holds up fairly well, and you still get 3x zoom. The iPhone 17 is giving you about 2x zoom. So not as much zooming in as something like the iPhone, 13 Pro Max. You still get 4K 60 on the front and the back. You get macro photography. You get a lot of cool stuff kind of built throughout, which is something I love. But if you are kind of going through and getting a phone, you do have to keep in mind that both these devices do have their strong suits here and there. And I look at something like an iPhone 17, and I feel like that type of device, is probably the one that is going to be giving you better, more features throughout. With its, it's also giving you action mode, dual capture mode, cinematic mode. The 13 Pro Max does it too. It's also giving you that center stage capability as well, which is another really awesome thing that's going on with that type of device. So if you're about to go through and pick up a phone, I definitely will tell you the iPhone 13 Pro Max's camera is still not terrible, but man, that iPhone 17 camera is probably significantly better in almost every single way as it kind of comes down to it. So from that side too, that kind of covers it up there as well. Now, on top of that, another important thing to keep in mind here as well is the fact that between these types of devices, a phone like the iPhone 17, I think that type of device, from a software lasting standpoint, that phone is probably going to be a longer lasting phone than the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So if you're trying to get the phone that is going to be lasting for a longer period of time, it would have to be something like an iPhone 17. That one does have the highest likelihood of lasting for a longer period of time. With that being said, I still think a phone like the iPhone 13 Pro Max still has a couple years of software updates ahead of it. So it's tough to say that that phone is going to be outdated anytime soon. But if you are trying to get the phone that is going to be lasting for a longer period of time, it probably is going to be something like an iPhone 17 in this particular situation. As it comes down to the performance, the iPhone 13 Pro Max is going to be giving you the Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with about 6 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 17 is going to be giving you the Apple A19 chipset inside of it with 8 gigabytes of RAM. So from this side too, if you are trying to get the phone that is going to be giving you the overall better type of performance from that side, then something like the iPhone 17, that's going to be the one that is probably going to be giving you an overall better type of capability than something like an iPhone 13 Pro Max. I think the 13 Pro Max, for a lot of different things, that device is still going to be pretty good for the most part. It's not going to be terrible. But as you can imagine, if you're trying to get the phone that is going to be giving you just slightly better experience, then it would have to be something like an iPhone, 17. That's going to be the one that is going to be significantly faster. And it's also going to be giving you things like Apple Intelligence. If that's important to you, then you're also going to be able to maintain that within that type of device as well. So what I can definitely tell you as I kind of look through these devices, I feel like both these devices are still very, very good. These are still, the iPhone 13 Pro Max is an older phone. That's still a pretty good type of iPhone for the most part. I don't really have too many things to complain about there for that type of phone. Now, with that being said, if you are in the market and you're trying to go through and pick up a device, then definitely something like an iPhone, 17, if you have all the money, that one is the better one. But if you're trying to save some money, I still think an iPhone 13 Pro Max, it's really not that terrible of a phone. And I think I would still recommend a lot of people to go through and purchase a phone like that. With that being said though, I still think, if you have an iPhone 13 Pro Max, I would still recommend going through and upgrading to maybe a different type of phone. Like if you can go for an iPhone 15 Pro Max or one of those types of devices, that would probably make more sense for me personally. But I still think a phone like an iPhone 17, that's the best one. That's the one I'd recommend more people to buy. But if you're on a budget, you can always go and buy something like an iPhone, 14 Pro Max or 15 Pro Max and still get a really good upgrade that way as well. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.